Well, anyway, there was one more video that I wanted to check. It was this one. The Cost of Concordia. What time is it? Oh, yeah, still a lot of time. Also, one day, Osvícení No Man's Sky. I will watch this next time. It's not called. I don't know why it's translating it. Sometimes YouTube just, or my browser starts translating stuff to the Czech. I don't know why. But yeah, Cost of Concordia by Internet Historian. Let's check it out.
The Costa Concordia.
Costa
Ship
Concordia.
of dreams. It's been 8 years.
8.
I can still smell the buffets from their 5 restaurants.
5 restaurants? So many.
The casino and 3-story theatre had hardly been used.
Yeah.
The gym, the day spa, the sheets in her 1,500 luxurious cabins
You make it sound so good.
hadn't even been slept in.
Really?
Costa Concordia cost $570 million to build.
What?
And you could tell. You could
Okay. That's a lot of money. Why is it playing My Heart Will Go On?
I remember
Well,
it like
let's
it was just a
learn
few
about
years ago. We had left
Few years ago,
Civitavecchia,
goddammit.
a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savona. It was day 2 of our 7-day journey.
Oh.
But that ship, she was cursed.
Oh my god.
When she premiered, the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead of smashing.
A bad omen. But I'm not the superstitious type.
Okay.
Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th
Oh
of
no.
January, 2012,
On the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic.
Okay.
On a ship that's also only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding. Especially not when you have a 5-star max level captain.
Yeah, that's
like
good.
Francisco Scatino. A man who mysteriously rose
From security
head of
guard?
security to the position of captain within just a couple of years.
he knows exactly what to do in case of an emergency.
For
Okay.
example, when he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port in Sicily.
Oh.
And in 2010, in Warnemünde, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision.
Oof.
I've got a good feeling about this.
Question about that. Why does he still have a license? Can someone tell me why does he still have... He could, you know, still steer the ship after those 2 accidents? Well.
So let's set the scene.
Give me the scene.
It's a beautiful evening. People are having fun on the
Oh, hi.
slides.
Time.
Drinks
Okay,
at the bar.
nice.
Antonio Magnotta is
So
playing
19
piano
PM.
at the restaurant. Martin the Magician is setting up for his show.
Martin the Magician.
And the ship is setting up for a little detour. It's called a sail by salute. Basically, you get real close to the shore and honk the horn. The
Honk the
locals hate it, but the customers love it, and it's a
Okay.
tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with a lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face, because
Okay.
you'll be seeing a lot of it later. Scatino
Well, I
eats his
remember.
dinner with her and socializes for a little while. Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge. It's time for that sail by salute. This
At
time,
9:30.
they're going to get closer
okay.
than ever. Just 1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they going to determine this distance? Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it.
Really
Apparently
eyeballing
it's not an
it.
uncommon thing to do.
Oof.
Scatino turns to the fella steering, his helmsman, Jacob Ruslibin.
Ah, nice
First
intro.
interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the job. In fact, his profession
Really?
hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a massive ship.
How the How? How does that work? Can anyone tell me how does that even work? How do you get into that position?
And he's very excited. At least, We think he is. It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all. Off to a
What?
good start. The second in command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't be confused by these numbers, they're just the degrees on a compass. At the same time, the captain whips out his cell phone and calls former captain Mario
9:37.
Palombo, who lives on the island.
Mario Palombo is the reason for the sail by salute. He essentially came up with the idea. He's not on Giglio at the time, he's in Grosseto.
They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's
I
shores.
see.
It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore.
Oh,
The
0.56
captain is
kilometers.
going
Okay.
all in. This is not his first sail by salute, so he's confident in what he's doing.
Okay.
We're going closer than we've ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again. New heading of 300, he tells the helmsman.
Okay.
Downstairs, Martin is about to cut his assistant in half. And of course, that means
What?
that there's already a lady inside this box.
Oh,
And then
so
she'll
that's how
put
it
her legs
works.
out.
Interesting.
The captain is giving more orders. Pulling gently to 310. Increase speed to 16 knots. Going this fast is going to be a fatal error.
Is
But before we
that
talk about
fast?
Let's talk about another big problem. Language barriers.
Ooh.
Because at this point, the captain says 325, but the helmsman relays 315. So the first officer intervenes and he goes, no,
Isn't
no,
that
no,
second?
335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325. The helmsman confirms 325.
Okay.
Their poor communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are.
Oh no.
However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem, complacency about procedure.
Okay.
The standard procedure of a ship this large is for the third officer to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives a new directional order. But they're not doing that.
Why?
330, he says. The helmsman relays 330. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing. That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel.
Okay.
A few seconds pass, and then the mood starts to turn. Scatino notices white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Costa Concordia, right now, is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without
Resurrection
deviation,
underwater,
there is
okay.
going to be a direct collision.
Oh shit. It's
Scatino
alright.
immediately commands the ship to start turning away. 335. Not enough. The captain shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350. Now, remember how I said that accelerating to 16 knots was a fatal error? Well, that's because it's made this ship incapable of such a drastic turn.
Okay.
What they've got is understeer. Here's an example.
The front end is not working. You're turning, and you're just going straight. You want to go over here, but you're going to end up over here.
So despite the order of 350, right now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough to miss the rock. And oh no, it's about to get worse. That language barrier again. In these critical moments where every second counts, the helmsman wrongly relays 340. The captain snaps back, 350 starboard or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The captain
Oh,
yells,
rudder.
starboard 10, starboard 20, and still it's not enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But
Okay.
at this point, even if they clear these rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship to swing around it.
Maybe it's
So
possible.
the captain yells, midship, which
Hello,
centers the
let
rudder.
me
The
back
bow
my
is now
game.
less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port 10. But the helmsman only gets to port 5 before another order is given 2 seconds later. Port 20. They might just avoid disaster here, maybe. But then, oh no. One more time, the helmsman cocks up at the worst possible moment. The helmsman goes to starboard instead of port.
Oh,
undoing
no.
The swing. 8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects, but it's too
That's
late.
a big fuck up.
He has just turned a probable near miss.
Who's knocking? Ah, it was Slummy. Simulations show that if this hadn't happened, the ship would have missed the rock by up to 10 meters, or at least only flooded one compartment. I see.
Into a sure hit. All they
I
can
thought
do
someone
now
was
is
knocking
hold
on
as
my
the
window
bow
and
of the
door.
ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port. The second officer yells, "We're gonna hit." Collision.
Oh. That's a big hit. Thank you, Roman. Not the pasta! Not the olive oil! Not the pasta! Not the coffee. If it was latte, then no would be sad. Another pasta! Ravioli? Maybe? I don't know. I have no idea.
Downtown, Nordtown.
Okay. That's from North Town.
It's day 56 of playing Russian roulette. Seems I never win.
Gonna
Is
drink
that a
all by
shotgun?
yourself?
Somebody has to.
I hear you're a man who's good at finding folks.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella.
Nice.
I got to find him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands of servers
Thousands
in
of
dozens
servers,
of countries
nice.
across the globe.
Mm.
And
right.
just like that, she was gone.
Yes, you are
The
for a
only thing
huge
she left
discount.
was a calling card. Sometimes when you follow a case, it follows you back.
Hmm?
NordVPN can protect my online data. But who can protect me? From myself.
Do you need protection
When they said
from
this
your...
job gets easier, it was just another lie. Forensics found his password spread all the way down the block.
Who's
The
going out dead?
world would
Oh
all
no.
use NordVPN. But I guess this isn't that kind of story. I took the brakes off my car. Man like me never really learned how to stop.
That's...
I took the steering wheel out too. I let the road take me where
Well, you will go mostly... If you don't have steering wheel, you would mostly go straight. But in, you know, case that your, wheels are straight. But you could always like turn a little bit left or a little bit right, depending on how you have it.
That's right, Toots. Your husband's dead. Merry Christmas.
F is that.
Go to
F in the chat.
NordVPN.com/internet story for a huge discount on a 2-year plan.
Oh, it's really light for that.
Add? Oh. The ship hits rocks on the port side.
Oh yeah.
A 53-meter gash opens up in the hull,
53.
and thousands of tons of water
Damn.
are pouring in. A loud scraping and bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm is panic. Rum
Well,
yells in
no.
the dining room.
I would panic
Awkwardly
too.
pauses his act as he's helping his assistant into the box. Meanwhile, the lady inside
Let me
is
out,
trapped
let me
and
out.
terrified.
Yeah,
There's
would be
confusion
too.
across the ship. All of the crew off shift come back on duty. All officers run to the bridge. Technical crews run down to the lower decks to assess damage. On connection with the rocks, they lose propulsion and slow to
Oof.
8.3 knots. And they are now adrift. Close the watertight doors at stern. Enormous volumes of water are pouring in. So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through fire.
Damn.
22 seconds later, a blackout happens. Lights, electrics, the water pumps too, everything. The captain orders the
Oof.
helmsman hard starboard. This is the final position of the rudder before power to that too is lost. The Costa Concordia, now without power, is drifting starboard, plunged into absolute darkness.
Start about this left, right?
A quick breakdown of the flooding. When the Concordia struck land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly. Then 6 more slowly, 4 shortly after.
Okay.
Then 7, 8, and 3. Modern ships are built to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These
Why?
compartments, especially though, are a problem because they contain the engines and the electrics.
Ooh.
These main generators give power to the whole ship. From propulsion motors to rudder to hotel functions, pretty much everything. When they went out,
Okay.
was a functionless, sinking cage. A few seconds later, the emergency batteries for internal lighting and communications kick on.
At least some light, I guess.
When the lights come back on, Martin has
He flipped open the latch and as he vanished from the scene, allowing the lady to escape. I see.
He's ditched the
At least
stage.
something.
And it caused a huge panic in the theatre, as passengers are trying to flee to their cabins and to muster stations. People already in their cabins come out and start putting on life vests. Staff rally and try to calm everyone down. Everything is fine. There's no need for vests. Please return to your cabins. The emergency generator starts.
Close the watertight doors.
The watertight doors
Door 12 during caused major problems as water could continue to flow between the engine room and electrical
except
compartment.
for door 12,
I
which
see.
is jammed. The captain calls Pilon, the chief engineer,
Okay.
as the ship begins to list on the port side. There's water coming in? Yes, there's water. But where? The engine room. But a lot of water? Yeah.
That's a quite stupid question if you think about it, but it's still a question.
There's water, you can't go down. Let's go down the other side. In a moment we'll start the pumps, I'll let you know. In the theatre, the whole magic box apparatus slides right off the stage and falls into the crowd, further increasing
At least,
panic.
hopefully no
On
one
the
got
bridge,
hurt.
An announcement is being prepared. They are going to lie to prevent a panic. Let's just say we have a blackout.
Berserker makes the announcement for the Dexter's assistant, okay.
The deputy chief engineer enters the engine control room. He confirms to the bridge that at least compartments 5, 6, and 7 are flooded. Announcements are made.
The captain to inform you that due to an electrical fault which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve the situation and will inform you of developments as they occur. Thank you for your attention.
That's endangering
At
lives.
the same time, in the restaurant, they're playing My Heart Will Go On, and it's very much not helping the
Oh
situation.
boy.
The captain calls the Costa Crisis Unit, Roberto Ferrarini. He tells the crisis unit that they've hit a rock, that they're assessing damages, and that they are also in a blackout. The crisis office says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that? You don't have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. Hoist the sails? Anyway, around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard list, and the ship begins to turn anyway, drifting right back towards the shore, which is a very good thing because you want the ship to end up as close to shore as possible.
Good thinker.
A panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's ever seen. Plus, there was a massive crashing noise and now the ship is tilting. So,
Yeah.
she contacts her daughter in Italy. The daughter then calls the police, and the police call the harbour master. While that goes
Okay.
on, a conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio. The diesel is not starting. The captain asks the engine room, but where have we made contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything.
Ooh.
They're saying at this point that the ship is going down. The captain calls Roberto Ferrarini again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded.
He's
But
wrong,
don't
it's
worry, the
strict-
ship's
oh.
stability isn't in danger. Wrong.
Stability is in
Passengers begin
danger.
going to
Oh
muster
boy.
stations on their own initiative. The cruise director says, "We have a lot of people at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I think that's best." The harbour master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that we just have a blackout. How long has this blackout been going on? About 20 minutes. Have
So much lying.
Put on life vests? It's just a blackout. I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at the ship. Another problem. The fan on the emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a
Oh,
screwdriver
no.
so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire. The captain is on the phone to the lower decks, asking pointless questions like, "Is it still flooded?" Yes.
No! It was suddenly stop flooding! Imagine that!
Yes, it is. The captain is essentially in denial of the situation. The harbour master calls again. Finally, he says, "The ship is taking on water through an opening in the left side and the ship is listing." He qualifies with, "No one dead or
Sorry.
injured."
That is not
The
something you
harbour
could
master
know.
asks if he needs help. "Just a tugboat?" When in reality, they need a full rescue. With 3 compartments flooded, the captain finally realizes that
Oh, hey,
things are
that's
really bad, and
from
they're
La
not
Portade,
going to
I think.
improve. The Coast Guard orders every available ship to the scene. Meanwhile, up with the
We have
passengers,
announcement
the
for
cruise
our
director's
captain.
assistant says,
We kindly ask you to return to your cabins, or if you prefer, you can stay in the lounges.
everything's under control. Please return to your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem.
Once we finish addressing the generator's electrical problem...
She said this despite knowing it was wrong and that it further endangered lives. Most passengers at this point, though, aren't listening to this
Everything
nonsense,
will be fine.
and they're busy figuring
Yeah.
out how to abandon ship. Bang, 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 bang.
So many
Local
lies,
television
goddammit.
has already picked up the story, and they begin broadcasting live radio feed from the bridge.
I think that's close.
Captain, the passengers are going on board the boats. Okay, let them go to shore. So then general emergency? Wait, let me talk to Ferrarini. We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems.
Oh no,
100
start the
degrees.
fire.
The cooling fan has stopped. Pilon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer they need to evacuate. The safety officer relays this to the captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to evacuate on his own. The captain says, "No, stay. We're leaving." So what do we
They
do?
did
General
good.
emergency?
Shall I give emergency signal?
The captain tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship. Abandon ship! Another announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. The situation is under control. Please
Ah!
remain calm. And at this time, proceed to your muster station. They're located outside on deck 4.
The Livorno Coast Guard calls again. The captain declares distress. The Coast Guard officially calls for rescue operations.
Too
They contact
late.
Pietro Mile, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot as he rushes
Just take
down
it.
to the helicopter base. Pilon
Just take it that it's... Oh, I think it started around 10 p.m., right? It's 18:55. Let's see. Turn left, and they hit around here. No, it's 45 minutes. Take it at everything like this. Took 45 minutes from the hit.
shuts down the emergency
Like,
generator.
holy
for the final
shit, that's
time.
fast.
The first rescue
Coast
vessel
Guard.
arrives. By this point, the lifeboats are already going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity. And it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain issues a general emergency on board. The announcement to abandon ship is finally called and alarms ring out. And with that,
Too late.
comes panic. And now that
That's
they're
an hour late.
with many of the lifeboats too awkwardly positioned to enter the water,
Damn.
there aren't enough readily available, and they have to start going back and forth to the shore, picking people up and dropping them off. The patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily. So the harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain says, no, the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying. Hold on, I'm reversing it. Beep, beep, beep. The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor. So they drop out the anchors, but let out too much chain, effectively rendering them useless.
Boy.
The deputy mayor of Giglio, Mario Pellegrini, and tobacco shop owner
Damn.
Giovanni Rossi arrive at the harbour. They watch the scene unfold. As the first of the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship, and starts trying to find someone in charge. He gives up and starts helping passengers.
The Maitres sees Pellegrini as he's abandoning the ship. I
Scatino
see.
tells everyone to leave and take radios.
Preparation order for abandoning ship, so it can be done in organized and orderly way.
But not before changing out of his uniform and into a nice suit.
Why?
Priorities. Dimitri Christidis and Silvia Coronica leave with him. The maitre d' and Sir Morton both get out of there. By this point, approximately 300 people are still on the ship. Mile reaches the helicopter base. The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta Bell, was already rising from the tarmac for the hour-long flight south.
Damn, hour long.
Ozio is the last crew
That was
member
also one
left
of the
on the
last
bridge,
three.
coordinating evacuation. He
Almost
then
2
leaves
hours.
to help passengers board lifeboats. The
As a
bridge
good
is
guy.
now abandoned. And then, the ship's black box stops working.
Oh,
Apparently there
just
were
like
technical
a car.
problems with it. That means, from here, things are going to get a little foggy in detail.
Okay.
A while later, rescue helicopters arrive, but they're
2
struggling
hours
to find the ship
later.
because they're expecting it to still be well above water.
Like that.
Passengers are scaling down
Oh,
the port
damn.
side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
This is no joke. Oh my goodness. It was no joke, mi amor.
passenger?
Oh.
Yes.
You're not allowed to make a film movie.
I'm allowed.
Who say you are?
Who said you are allowed? Well, I can, like, sorry. If you're in this thing, I think it's okay. It's normal that you will take a video. You cannot not allow that. Codename Nemo.
A second helicopter, a
Oh.
faster model, sets
Codename
off.
Nemo.
The ship
Interesting
stops
name.
healing and comes to a final resting
Damn.
place. Now the Coast Guard calls the captain because he's just learnt that the captain has abandoned ship. The captain claims, no, actually I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats. Ooh, I'm a klutz. But now that I'm on board, I may as well head back to shore. DeFalco tells
Damn.
the captain to get the fuck back on board.
Get back
And
on
the
the-
captain kind of acts confused and then effectively refuses. So
Okay.
the captain makes it to shore. From here, we only have mainstream news reports to rely on, so it's not
no
going to be super
records, no
accurate.
video,
But they say
okay.
that Giglio's police chief then finds 110 survivors on the rocks at Point Gabbianara, and among them
Damn.
is the captain. It's not known whether the
3
captain
hours
helped
later.
anyone while he was there, and in fact, the police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other people do the rescuing.
Well, it was a big fuck up.
A while later, a rescue boat picks up the captain and takes him to the harbour. He speaks to the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cries to him for about 15 minutes.
Damn.
Then he goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down
6 hours
of his
later.
entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver to take the captain back to his hotel. The captain takes the 30-second cab ride to the Bahamas hotel. According to the cabbie, he was beaten like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks.
Well, socks are needed.
But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
35
Captain
people
is usually the last to abandon ship. What
on
happened,
board
Captain?
still.
We were the last to leave the ship.
All day Saturday, rescuers search for people on the ship. On Sunday morning, a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering. They had slept through the crash and woke up unable to exit their cabin.
Damn, give me that sleep. That's some big deep sleep. Damn.
The last survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director. In the end, 32 people
So the
died.
3 English
The
soldiers
final
worker who
body
died
wasn't
in
discovered
accident, I
until
think.
nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia was the largest
Damn.
cruise ship disaster since the Titanic.
Yeah.
And then there's the ship.
Hmm?
This
The-
is what happens to a
Ooh.
110,000-ton cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
So haunting. Could be an interesting walk through that, but ooh. Would be spooky as well. Just look at it. Oh, that room look great. Oh, those rooms. White. Damn. So rusted and all suddenly. Damn.
But this isn't the end. It's just the
Oh.
halfway point. What most people know
Oh, yeah, it
is that
is.
the Costa Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward.
Into the spaghetti.
But there's a whole veritable spaghetti of details
Oh.
to untangle.
Nice spaghetti.
Let's dive in.
What are they doing?
There they are. The deets.
Really? For the joke? Oh. Those look yummy. Looting. Oh, okay.
Loot box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a floating resort. There's a mall, a casino, cha-ching, cha-ching. This
Damn.
iron chest was full of safes and cash registers and expensive fittings. And there were plenty of gamers prepared to sneak by authorities and try their luck in the hot zone.
Damn.
Within days, police divers reported that valuable
For
items
stolen
once
possession.
seen lying around the ship
That
were now
sucks.
missing. high-end liquor, expensive furniture,
Look at it.
dining sets, cash from the casino, cash registers, jewelry and display cabinets,
Jewelry,
safes,
nice.
Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists,
Damn.
as well as the iconic bell, which
Bell?
hangs from the bridge of the ship.
Who the fuck
It was
would take
never
a
found.
bell?
Who steals a big fuck-off bell? Even the
Yeah.
server admins were getting involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia were spotted on CCTV, sneaking out to the ship. A patrol boat was dispatched, and the men were caught inside the fancy suites with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with stealing and
Each fine
thieving.
€200 and
Pension.
4 to 6
Later on,
months.
stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
Can see that.
Watermark.
Some Australian guy even made a listing for the ship itself, advertising it as
Really?
fire to collect.
Really?
And although there were plenty of bidders, eBay pulled the plug.
Oof. Well, yeah, imagine bidding 1,000, Aussie dollars, getting that, and how much metal, how much iron it is. That's a lot of money. Oh. Oof. The relationship. Oh boy.
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and we'll get to that. But
Okay.
first, we have to talk about someone else.
Ooh.
Dominika Samorton.
That was a close one.
There was speculation that she was on the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
Oh.
Tense media speculation reports
Why
that
did we
her
ever,
presence distracted
Why did we ever knight Fred? Represented her represented distracted
the
captain.
captain.
They both denied their
Just
love
'cause
for
they put a
years
stop
and
to nothing,
maintained that they were just friends.
Just
Although
friends,
she
yeah.
did later admit to the media that she found him handsome.
Attractive, very
And how
charming.
could you not?
You so fucking precious when you.
Oh, I remember that picture.
But she says there was no romantic link between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, some...
My late night sex
Something in the
session
story.
in
Miss
Concordia
Samorton
captain's
also
cabin.
loved the spotlight, however,
Oh boy.
and took several interviews. But as the pressure mounted upon her, she began making ominous threats to Scatino, saying
I
he
give
must
you 1 week to
confess,
tell the truth about
and
what
that
happened
you
if you
have
have
but
to
1
announcement
week
to
to
abandon
come
ship.
clean.
1 week, okay?
But things from here get weird.
Spicy.
Samorton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter
Slava
came to
says
the ship
to take
well
message
before
object.
the other rescue craft to take away a package.
A loot box.
Huh? And what was that package?
Cocaine.
Drugs, apparently.
Oh.
So rumors began that the ship was running narcotics for the mafia.
Damn.
And not without cause. A number of cruise ships, even recently, have been caught trafficking drugs. As
Oh.
an aside, Scatino was tested for drugs immediately after the crash.
Damn.
He tested negative for drugs in
Oh,
his
I
system,
see.
but trace amounts of cocaine were found in a hair.
How do you get it in cocaine?
And less
How do you get cocaine in the hair if you don't even use it?
dry.
Nonetheless, the Concordia was searched and no drugs were reportedly ever found. How did we get here? Oh, right, a helicopter. Samorton commented on it again the next day and said, actually, that helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation.
But they didn't even evacuate via helicopter. The captain also wouldn't be first person of the ship. LMAO, imagine if Scatino just flew away on a helicopter before any of the rescue crew even arrived. Does she expect some sort of first-class rescue service? I think this confusion is caused by low IQ.
From the ship.
Huh?
Okay, wait. So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship? Wait, how did we get here? Oh, right, sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin, where they found Miss Samorton's lingerie and
according to
other articles
Australian
of clothing,
newspaper.
as well as a makeup bag. The jig was up, but they continued denying it. Samorton mostly faded from international attention until she was told to appear before the court
2013,
to
okay.
present witness testimony. The judge pressed her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Either tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally, she admitted it.
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship.
Sentimental, yeah.
Stop. But now, stop asking about my private life.
She was indeed the captain's lover.
What is up, Trouble Alert Nation? Satino cheated on his wife with C. Mortan. Oh my god!
She and
Oh,
Scatino
boy.
had been having an affair for several weeks. She also said that on the night she
Really?
she didn't have a ticket.
Ticket, please.
And didn't need to pay because nobody questions you when you're the captain's lover. Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I want to say that today is the second time I die because the
What?
first time I died in the night of the crash with my psychological brain and problems.
The fuck are you
And today
saying?
I died the second time because, of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial, she used her fame in Moldova to become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering protests, accompanied by pictures of her being arrested by police.
She's complaining that there aren't enough bins in the area. The police are telling her to calm down and point out that there are bins right there. The crowd standing around is telling police she's allowed to protest here and generally why I think. The fuck are you doing? Behave! Okay, that's littering. She's saying this is normal. Look, trash everywhere. It's normal. That's littering.
It was some stuff about victims of violence, women's rights, yada yada yada, and interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia.
Sure.
Okay.
Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just check on her No,
Oh no!
Not again.
Oh no! Get away from that, Gilio. Goddamn. Lawsuits. Okay.
Several civil suits were quickly lodged against Costa Crociere, and their parent company, Carnival Cruises, immediately saw a share drop of 23%.
Damn.
Don't beat.
Passengers sought compensation for their damaged mental health, lost
Yeah.
belongings, and loved ones.
Either they allowed him to divert from his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
Oh, really?
That was not the ordinary route.
Ten blames human error.
Was taking at the time, and was not only taking, but the time the ship was
Claiming that the ship was not
Watch
approved
this, not
to
approved.
deviate from the route. But that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than 15 miles, or that it was
Okay.
against company rules. Also untrue, because investigators found that they didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they tacitly encouraged sail-by salutes.
Okay.
Now, in response to the civil suits, Costa Crociere offered passengers 11,000 euros each
That's
as
not
compensation.
much. Oh, this would add up to somewhere between 40 to 50,000 million euros as total bill. 11,000 euros. Not that much.
Kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the minimum compensation under international law when a ship is abandoned.
This was to reimburse them for their tickets, as well as any costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and anything that has to do with this accident. I cannot ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy with this deal, and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult. For what these poor passengers went through, we think that the compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Here, take it.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Costa Crociere would lodge a plea deal with the Tuscany court to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. The judge agrees.
What the
Costa
fuck?
Crociere is now off the hook for all criminal liability for the whole thing. They've washed their hands of the incident.
Real footage of Costa washing their hands of the situation. That's fucked up.
And flexed the residual droplets of responsibility onto the faces of 6 staff members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company has been able to avoid criminal responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
Civil suits against the company continue. By the way, The residents of the island of Giglio.
The airport was blocked to fishing boats while the recovery was being done. Importing goods a lot more difficult too. They had an influx of tourists, but they were all there to see the Concordia. In the end, they didn't get much in terms of compensation.
Also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much. Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of $11,000 joined civil parties against Scatino in his trial in 2015.
I see.
They were awarded €30,000 each. Other cases,
that's
especially those
much
involving lost relatives,
better,
are settled for
definitely.
undisclosed amounts.
Oh, there was glass! What the? Scams.
New York attorney Peter Renee traveled
That's
to
good.
Budapest to represent 6 real survivors of the disaster.
At Renee, we personally work on
Hey,
every
this
case.
is Renee.
And we'll work harder than anyone to get you the most money possible in the shortest amount of time.
And while on the job, a 7th case crossed
Oh, hey, Asmund,
via
go.
email. An elderly woman, Alona, said,
Help me, Mr. Ronai, for I have lost my daughter, Eva, and my 5-year-old granddaughter, Roxana.
Roxana.
So Mr. Renai agreed to
interesting
speak
name.
with her. However, there were some inconsistencies in her story. Neither Eva nor Roxana were on the passenger list. Odd. But Costa is known for having stowaways.
I
Still,
see.
Mr. Renai was suspicious. They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they?
Maybe they will.
Renai inquired further about why she was on
Why
board,
not on
especially
passenger
without a
list?
ticket. Ilona said,
Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
Okay, that's
He'll
interesting
know all the
name.
details.
I'm up all night. I'm going crazy, he said. But Mr. Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, how much money do you think this is worth?
What?
This is a huge red flag, Petey. In 20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now?
What happened? How
So
did
Mr. Renai hired an
happen?
investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone rang. Oh, hoi hoi. It was the boyfriend again.
Oh.
There's been a bit of a misunderstanding and the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before.
Okay.
Can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented. That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and asks her if she's seen Mum. Yeah, I saw her today. Oh, really? Yeah, we went to the park today and we went
okay.
on the swings. Oh no, the jig was up. So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. It's a miracle. And the story changed again. Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I immediately flew back to Budapest. Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries.
Hey, it's healed already.
Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, it turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor. Eventually, Renee managed to make the pair confess. And then they said, hey, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't taken any money. And in the end, it looks like there'll be no criminal punishment for this guy because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud on the books.
They don't know how to. They don't know how to punish them like that. Oh no. Bye. What are bordo? Oh.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course. Means get back on board for fuck's sake.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for
Gregorio De Felco,
telling
the
us.
naval officer who shouted at Scatino to Vada a bordo caso, became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He,
Look up some
like the
hero
rest
cover.
of the world, expected Scatino to go down with the ship.
Oh boy, the ammo.
And when the captain chickened out, De Falco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast.
But I will really hurt you. I will cause you a boatload of trouble. Yes, a proper emergency, and he was still making puns.
When the captain first reported just blackout, De Falco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives. His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their public servants being corrupt and avoiding responsibility. Accordingly, shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso were being printed by the end of the week,
cruising.
others setting it as their phone's ringtone. But then,
it's a
in September 2014, without warning, DeFalco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
Hear what I said? You've been demoted.
DeFalco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively cancelled 10 years of his career.
Damn.
DeFalco was tres furioso, and there was public speculation that it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delana, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways.
promoted and sent to Rome
On
after.
the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression for naval officers and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his career. Now, it's hard to know what's true in office politics,
I see.
so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, DeFalco said buenos noches, ya later, to the Italian Navy to become a politician. In March that year, he was elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member for Livorno. He still serves there today.
I'm the captain now.
Yes, Captain. Giulio. Jail time!
The day after the disaster, Schettino was taken into custody by police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a straightforward investigation. So the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli. By July of that year, the house arrest was relaxed and he was allowed within this general area. While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says. I don't speak Italian.
I just want
he must have some kind of charisma going on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Hold on, I got it. Not content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined to abandon his wife as well.
Damn.
So, Schettino and 5 others are facing criminal charges. Straight away, everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court. And all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Schettino's. And the condition of everyone's reduced sentences are that they must provide witness testimony against Schettino.
He touched me.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvia were all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Manrico are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal. A good deal.
For them, not for the victims.
And that meant that Schettino was now all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the first to give his testimony. On the witness stand, he claimed that Schettino was distracted by his mistress and other guests on the bridge.
Oh. Yeah.
There was confusion over who was in command.
Just this isn't true. Okay.
And he said Lamau XD because he didn't actually bother with his testimony
What?
or his reduced sentence. He just fled the country.
Duh.
It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of Jakarta. And when they said, "Oi, we still want that witness testimony," he just scalped it again.
What?
He hasn't been found since.
Damn.
After that, Ferrarini gave his testimony, then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty!
Yep, there's that.
Schettino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
Isn't that a
But
bit
wait,
low?
there's still the appeals. The appeals trial begins. And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected.
Oh, okay.
So Schettino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Is that Schettino?
Schettino made multiple attempts to secure a plea deal, but was denied by the prosecution each time.
not.
The prosecution called for Schettino to be sentenced to
Or
26
is
years
it?
in prison, calling the incident
Got 26, but Schettino only got 16, I see.
Schettino was not present. His lawyers stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he could immediately start serving his sentence.
Oh, as he did something.
And with that, 5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally in a cell.
Better luck next time.
I will not be making any comment.
I thought they shouldn't do Concordia. Linus ship tips.
The salvage operation was enormous. It took over 2 years and cost an estimated $1.2 billion. Beginning in early 2012, they
Pump
first
fuel
spent
out,
2
pump water
months
in,
pumping
into
fuel
the
from the ship's tanks.
into the
At the same
place,
time,
okay.
they had to pump seawater in so that the balance wasn't affected and the ship didn't slide around. In early 2013, a platform was built under the ship to prevent it from falling further. Sponsons were then attached to the sides of the ship and cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were then dragged underwater and opened up to allow the ocean to fill them. The ship could then roll over properly. By late 2013, the ship was upright once more.
Sponsons, I see.
The sponsons were then attached to the side of the ship to help keep it balanced. It now rested partially above water and crews could walk around safely. By July 2014, the water was removed from the sponsons and compressed air was pumped in to lift the ship. And she was ready to cruise again. This time to a port in Genoa. It was a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin. That same weekend of the towing, Schettino was busy. He was the guest of honor at a white party on an island in the Bay of Naples.
Really?
He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by 2 of Italy's most
Andrea house arrest
eligible
before he went
bachelorettes.
to prison. Damn. The end.
Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Costa Concordia. That sweet maiden of the sea.
You have the
and there's
bell?
you little fella.
You have the bell? It was you all along!
Well, it's time to return you.
Oh, boy.
From whence you came.
Oh boy.
6 quick things. 1. NordVPN, good product. Check
Okay.
it out. Number 2. There's a new video on the second channel. You probably
incognito
didn't see
mod.
it because it was temporarily restricted. Now it's not. Enjoy. 3. If you've never seen the second channel before, give it a go. It's
I know
a different
about it.
type of content, but we put a lot of production into it. It's not just offcuts. 4. There are a couple of secret channels as well, but I ain't telling you where they are. 5. No more 45-minute videos on the main channel. Back to 10 to 15 minutes and more of them. 6. There's
Yeah,
a Q&A
that was
coming
a
out
lie.
next week on incognito mode. It's got a ton of detail that we had to cut for the sake of brevity and will no doubt feature a ton of
But yeah.
corrections as well. That's it. Thank you.
But yeah, great video. Support Internet Historian, of course.